Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Boys from the Baltic Star. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you're all doing very, very well. That's what I like to hear. Thank you, Spez. That is really good news. First up, hello to our regulars. First off, a big shout out to Kels and Spez who are in tonight. Big shout out to Ali who's on at pub crawl with her friends and is probably in a horrible mess right now because she's not a drinker. So let's have 3 minutes of silence for Ali's liver.
That's a lot of dead air.
3 minutes is a long time when you just sat here.
3 seconds will do.
I think we managed.
We did that just about. If it is your first time here, you are very welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. And if you are a lurker as well, thank you so much for coming along. We are the Boys from the Baltic Star, and we stream role-playing games on Friday night and Saturday night. We do other stuff on other nights. We'll talk about that at the end. But the most important thing, if you're here tonight, is we role-play. And on Fridays, if we're all here, we role-play Traveller, our ongoing adventure, Boys from the Baltic Star. We're doing adventures in space. We're having a lot of adventures in a wide amount of space. And you'll learn more about that in a minute when we get to the start of today's adventure. So, as I said before, if you're a lurker, that's absolutely fantastic. Please feel free to lurk. We won't shout you out. You might freak out if someone shouts out Leno, but that's an in-joke, so don't worry about that. We won't shout out you personally. Unless you're Leno. If you want to join in the chat, please feel free to chat. Chat is friendly and welcoming. We've got some regulars in there already, and if any of the three of us aren't busy at any time, you'll find that we join in the chat as well, and you can chat about what you want to chat about. You can ignore us altogether, or you can ask us things or talk and interact with us, and you might find that some things cross over into the story. We're quite sort of third, fourth and second wall breaking in that regard. There's more walls being broken every week, you know.
Exit pursued by Varga.
Exactly. The other thing that is of interest is the little red sun, which is Imperial credits. So the longer you spend in chat, of course, you know, Twitch, you earn some points. And if you subscribe, I think you earn them quicker, I believe. So if you click on them, there's loads of things. There's a whole array. The ones that are red background, like that sort of reddish background, have noise. So they're very exciting. Some interact with us. Specifically, some do other stuff, like this one.
Get to the chopper!
You just said that. There's no reason to that one, but it's there. Guns out is from me, so I have to get the guns out. Because of my well-honed guns from my sport, which is good because it's really warm tonight. So I'm really glad you did that early. Thanks, Bez. Otherwise, I'd have had to do it for free. There's some other stuff as well that interact with the game, so that you can give us a boon, which is always very much appreciated. You can choose the name of a character who becomes canon in our story, and there's one thing we're very keen on is canon. We're big on canon, so we appreciate that. Loads of stuff. Click in there, have a little look around. Decide whether you're Team Yana or Team Muffin from the intro, because Yana is off with an illness at the minute, so Muffin is there, and he might stay on the full time if more people are Team Muffin. You can fist bump each other if you want. You can give yourself a little cuddle. You can drink to our main man, Greyhill Bast. There'll be times to do that. But there's one thing we keep for 1 credit because we're a believer in equality. And we want everyone at any one time, if there's a reason for us to drink to something, for 1 credit, I'll drink to that. And it's great. And anyone can afford that at any time. So generally, if you say that, one of us will have to take a drink to it or something. To Greyhill makes us drink as well. So. And it's Ben's night off, so he may drink, makes him drink, even though it's not his night off, but we just keep it in the whole time now. Ben's working hard, he needs a drink. But yeah, so that's everything. Let's introduce the three of us, and then we'll hand over to get started. So my name is Luke. Hello, I'm in the bottom right-hand corner, here with the guns out. I've got a hot cup of tea, and it's really hot tonight. I don't know why. It's crazy winter here already. I play 2 characters. I play Kara and Soraya. I'll quickly ping them up on the top so you know what you're looking at. So look to the top of your screen, everyone. That is Kara. She's an artist slash, I guess, sort of talky character slash hacker, trader, carouser. She's that sort of character in in a crew. She's made of glass, so she hides at the back when there's combat. Don't blame me. We're keeping her safe, and Kelly will agree with me. It's very important to keep Kara safe. I also play Soraya, who is a sort of a jack of all trades scout. She spent like 12 years in scouts, miles away from anyone else, on her own, fending for herself, so she can do a bit of everything. She knows her way around a ship, and she likes to drink, and she's a bit socially awkward, and she loves sport, especially buckyball. Next to me, also playing two characters, is the housewife's favourite yet again. It was closer this time in the voting, but he is still reigning supreme. Ben's gone up in the estimation somewhat because his stubble's returning. But for now, it is still my brother from another mother, my comrade and my ally. It is the wonderful Ewan. Good evening, Ewan. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Luke. I'm excited to be back playing some Traveller after a week off. Wasn't that long, but it felt like a long time.
Weeks always feel like ages when we don't play Traveller, you know. I don't know about you. It's so long. It's a treat to be back. You've been keeping well though, yeah? Because I know he works hard, everyone, and he's the one that has to get up early out of us, and he's always tired.
That is true. But I think that's adult life, isn't it? I think everyone,
Yes,
pretty much just always tired.
yeah. It's going to be even harder once I've decided what I want to do when I grow up.
Precisely. I think we're all going to be in trouble then.
Exactly. But you know, I'm glad you're with us, Ewan, and it's Friday night. We can all enjoy this evening together, can't we? So that's the main thing.
Exactly.
Who do you play in these wonderful Friday nights anyway?
I play Soraya's equally socially awkward partner in crime, Stefan, a former space rogue, current space rogue of sorts, but a bit more upstanding, you know, now he's joined the Baltic Star crew. And I also play Agnar, former Varga general, still Varga, former general. The floofiest of all the characters on the Baltic Star, and the only one that has a sachet that says "Destroyer of Worlds" on it, which hasn't been brought up in a while, but he does have it.
He doesn't wear it every day.
No, mostly he keeps it in his pocket. Only when the occasion calls for such a sash.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe we need more reason to have the sash. It does feel like it's been a while.
More formal dues.
More formal dues, exactly. That's when it really comes into its own.
Yeah.
Now, the man who could ensure there are more formal dues is across one from Ewan. And he's the smartest man in any room. He lives his entire life in the Twin Peaks dream sequence, as you can see. He works for a chocolate company, delivering chocolates to women in their rooms while they're sleeping.
A cruel job when you're diabetic.
Majestic!
He breaks in through their windows and leaves milk tray. He's been doing it for a few years now, I feel. Secretly, he's been employed properly for a few months. And this is what he's doing until he grows up, basically.
And all because the lady loves milk tray.
It is the insatiable, the resplendent, the slightly creepy Ben. Good evening, Ben. How are you?
I'm 3% less creepy this year.
You did throw that in at the end, though, didn't you? Trying to sneak it under the radar. Luke.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm all right, thank you. Very much looking forward to a Friday night, of course, and a Traveller one is always great fun for me.
Yes, what a lovely way to end the week, eh?
Really is.
You've been busy this week, Ben.
It has been a bit hectic, yeah. A couple of very busy days. Not too bad today. A bit quieter today. So I got a little bit of a ramp into the weekend.
That is good. Any formal dues coming up in game that we can get a sash out for, perhaps?
Well, there are possibilities, but you might have to raise one yourself because of what you're doing for the current trip. The current mission might not lead itself to being welcomed at some of the finer tables.
That's understandable. I just think that the sash, is it a Destroyer of Worlds, Kelly? we could do the old sachet away instead. From was it from old what's his name's drag queen? That'd be more fun. Anyway, Ben, we're all here. Agnar's got his sash in his pocket. What's happening? Let's play. What's going on?
Well, the story. Our travellers are not having a completely relaxing time aboard the Seamstress, the giant liner and buckyball pitch, as they make their way back to Geeka to rejoin their ship, the Baltic Star. The big fly that is currently doing the backstroke in their ointment is the Geeka diaspora, a group of pilgrims on their return to the planet they consider their home. They have in their care a young girl called Leah Hivia, who seems to be psionic, a bit of a problem in the Imperium. Our heroes aren't too pleased to find this young person being taken care of by what is essentially a cult, and have taken steps to resolve this matter once at Geeka. Unfortunately, the diaspora seems to be less popular on board the liner than the vegetarian option at a Varga restaurant, and this has already led to one very violent incident, where a lone attacker went after the diaspora in the expansive hot tub area of the ship. He failed to injure any of the pilgrims, but his attack injured 2 of the Baltic Star crew. Olivia Sharp, Chief of Security aboard the Seamstress, has been unable to find out the real identity of the attacker, despite his unusual armour, high-quality weapons, and, well, the way she had full access to his corpse. Agnar and Kara, however, found out where this villain was quartered on the ship. They paid the room a visit and actually got Sharp's permission to enter and investigate. The room didn't contain anything useful in terms of information, but they did trigger an electric trap, which slightly injured Kara. They took the device, but Kara also shot a series of excellent pictures and then took a video there for her vlogging community, though it's not uploaded yet. As they left, without much new to go on, Johnny called and asked if they knew anyone with influence on Geeka, because the diaspora want a favour of some kind. And that is where we resume the story.
Now, we know that their ancestral home, because Kara researched it, is a place called Herrenhal. That's correct, isn't it? Which is in our beloved Geeka.
Which is a great name, by the way, Ben.
Thank you.
Thought I'd pay some compliments before we
start rolling.
Yeah.
Get them in early.
Yeah.
Agnar, you're a man of high standing. I feel like you're a man that when you talk, people listen to, and you're also a man that prefers paperwork and discussion to action because of your position, of course.
Well, funnily enough, all of those things are true, with the exception of the Baltic Star, I suppose. You know, nobody tends to really listen around here, and they have dragged you. I should say you have dragged my social standing down somewhat.
What? Oh, there was me giving
the flattery is nice.
Exactly. Well, how quickly did the diaspora want to be allowed to go to that island? Because maybe you could sort of infiltrate the authorities, join their meetings. You know, a meeting every month for a couple of years. You know,
Are you thinking like a long-term plan?
Yeah, like the local authority. You know, a meeting about speed bumps here, a cycle lane there. And then when you're sort of ingratiated and you've sort of
start off being like a school governor and work my way into the that sort of society.
Exactly, and then you could sort of bring up the island, and then everyone's eating at your hairy hand by then.
As somebody who eats out of my hairy hands quite frequently, it's pretty disgusting.
I feel that maybe that plan's a bit too long for what the diaspora want, though.
Yeah. I think they might want more of an immediate. To be fair, if it gets them out of the way of if the general populace of Geeka is anything like the people on the ship, it would get them out of the way of said general populace and keep any events like down in the hot tub at bay, possibly.
So sort of give
If
them
they're the
their
only
own
people
land.
allowed there, yeah, then
Interesting.
the authorities might be open to hiding them away somewhere.
That's not a bad. Yeah, that's not a bad. Do we know anyone with any standing on Geeker? Just trying to think back. We ran into some people.
Mhm.
I remember the we ran into the jolly tour guide. I don't think he's got much sway though. Agnar. I did like him though.
He was a Von Cotswold there, so
Oh,
maybe.
that's true. His name does hold sway.
The fish, the guy who bought all the fish off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sadly, he's not on Geeker at the moment.
He has people.
The rich the rich Aslan, but he came along with us as well, didn't he? See, doesn't know where he's back by now. Hang on, I'm losing my names. Paral Kara.
Parao is certainly the highest socialite I think I've met. Certainly since I've been with the Baltic Star.
It depends how high a socialite Colonica Debris was. She seemed quite hoity-toity.
That is true. That is true.
More hoity-toity than that underlog. He just seemed like a drunk. It's hard to know. We know the people on Deep Night Corporation, but they're a corporation. Are they interested in the political machinations of islands on Geeker at the end of the day? They're just focused on their missions.
I mean, I'd imagine they would be if there was something in it for them. But then I guess the same could be said of most people who would let us in or let the diaspora in.
It's true. I don't know. I can't think of anyone. We didn't run into any councillors or politicians, unfortunately. But you're right. Like, I don't particularly want to help the cult in as much as I'm not too bothered about them. But all the while sort of playing along with their stuff might help us to stay close enough to rescue the kid. Which, of course, is our main priority now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Do you think you could find out under whose authority we're not allowed there? Who says people can't just go there? You could look that up, couldn't you?
I could give it a go. Like, of course, I can't call around anyone that's not on this ship. I'll tell you what I will do. I'm going to head back, and I will have a mooch around. I'll get the old laptop up. I'll grab myself some food, some cheesy balls, some peanuts. Like the food of champions. And I'll go back. And what I'll do is I'll try and hack around and see if there's anyone on this ship maybe that has any sway.
Have you not still got peanuts left over from last time? Wasn't there like 2 tons worth of peanuts that somebody bought?
You'd think, but someone seems to have thrown them away in the journey somehow. They definitely came in one of my bags to De La Bru, but then when we got the bags open again here, they were not there anymore. So either they've been eaten or someone's tossed them.
I do keep finding them in my fur. Maybe someone's using them as projectiles.
I think it's probably Rose, if anyone. I would think, or maybe Kat. Kat, she's always said that she wants to play a game of how many things we can stick in your fur without you noticing. How many objects or how big an object?
I think many peanuts is probably the way to go. But don't tell her.
We're hoping to fit a smaller Varga in there, but could never find a small enough Varga for it. I'll go back and I'll see if I can find anything. I'll have another search round. I'll have me. Why don't you go and you could always go and chat with your best friend about it. With old Sharpie, yeah. She might know. Oh, you are a one. No, well, you could have a word with Sharpie. See if she knows much, because we've been in there anyway. You might as well give her a feedback on what happened. Why don't you like you can go on your own, or you can drag someone. I'm sure Soraya's up by now. She's
Do you think so? Is there a game on?
yeah, there.
She
Yeah.
might be. She
What
might
time
be
is it?
busy.
What time is it, Ben?
We're now talking about roughly the middle of the day,
Yeah.
so you may actually be coming up on the lunchtime break.
Yeah. So Soraya should be up by about then. Cara left stuff with her, didn't she? Like messages and things like that. So Soraya will be up. That was a good little while ago. Yeah. Soraya knows we're out. Give her a call. I'm sure.
I'll drop her a message. What is it I'm telling Sharp again?
I don't know what happened in the room, I guess, and just get some more insight. See if she knows anyone of power. If she will, give it to you, and I'll have a more secret route around to see if there's anyone of power. And if not, who has power on Geeka?
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. She seems quite interested in, keeping them out of the way of non-diaspora members. I'm sure she'd be amenable.
And she seems quite keen on you. You seem to be the one that she actually likes out of us. At least some, or at least pities, maybe.
Agnar has a long, slow, hard think about her seeing him fall in the hot tub. No, I'm sure it's friendship. It's not pity.
Keep telling yourself that. Okay.
Anyway, let me know.
Yes.
If you come up with anything.
I will do. I'll speak to you soon. Come on, we can at least walk together to the top of this section. Let's leave this horrible room of death behind us for a small child to find.
Yeah, good idea. Could you send me the photos, or did you send them to Sharp already?
I'll send you the photos.
Thanks.
I'll sweeps them over.
I'll call Soraya as we walk.
Cool, fantastic. Right, and then as they get to the top, I'll sort of wave. I'll see you later then. Good luck with Sharpie. Say hi from me.
I'll speak soon.
Take care. Bye.
And he pulls out his communicator and calls Soraya.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Soraya. It's Agnar.
Hello, Agnar.
I was just with Cara and she suggested that you might be at a loose end. I'm gonna go see Sharp about some things we found in a room and some requests by the diaspora.
Okay, hang on. Let me just have this third coffee and this seventh pain pill for my hangover, and I'll come and join you.
If you're having 7, it might not be pain pills. They might be cheese balls. Just double check.
Cheese balls always take the pain away. They always make me feel better. I'm on my way.
Perfect. Thanks. I'll see. Do you want me to pick you up any brunch?
No, you're all right. I've got some stuff here. I've got some of those leftover platters from downstairs that have been brought up. It was Stefan and Johnny were on, weren't they? And so I've got all their sort of leftover bits and Zoe and Rose are on now. I've got all the leftover bits and pieces they brought up. So don't worry. I've got some dirty old ham, some crusty bread that no one ate, a bit of cheese that someone started but didn't want the rest of. But that looks pretty good. I'll have some of that.
I'd avoid that.
Well, I can make you up a sandwich and bring it over to you if you want.
No, it's fine. I'll pick something up. Thanks. Bye. He hangs up. And he'll go find somewhere to grab some meaty form of brunch. Preferably takeaway.
The best kind of brunch.
Okay. What kind are we talking about?
I don't know, the brunch equivalent of a meat platter. Like cured meats.
Sure. Sure.
or,
Okay.
a roll or some kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is absolutely no shortage of that being sort of almost thrown into the mouths of people coming away from the game. So yes, there's a great deal of that happening. Are you just buying enough for yourself, or are you picking up some for Soraya as well?
He'll pick up. Yeah, I'll pick up a little extra.
Okay.
So enough for Soraya and Sharp.
Okay. If you're going for a light one, that'll be about 9 credits.
Cool.
Okay, so you will meet effectively on the concourse. Soraya's been, off seeing a bit of a match and wandering about and stretching her legs every now and then. And then obviously you have been out on a mission. So it'll be on the concourse that you blunder into each other.
A mission for brunch.
Well, yes.
He'll wave her down with, handfuls of a bag or container or whatever it is that brunch is coming. Soraya. Oh, what you don't know? Don't eat the half-eaten cheese.
Too late. There was a strange pickle or relish on it or something. I don't know what that was. It was kind of sweet, but it was also kind of like really, really bitter. And it was kind of wet, but it was also like kind of dry.
Then look, just eat this and have a proper meal.
Oh, you're too good.
Standards are slipping. There was a time on the Baltic Star when brunch meant brunch.
We're too busy for brunch
Not
these days, Agnar.
2 day old.
We're so splintered. I thought we've missed.
It is true.
We haven't had a good old party together for a while,
Well, that is also true. But someone's always, always working.
Oh, that's the curse
At least
with this tonight, isn't it? This whole
at least for this week.
It'll get better though, right? When we're back on the Baltic Star, when we're in jump, 4 brunches a day at least.
I think that first night we should have, let our hair down a little bit. We're getting some special supplies.
There's a lot
easier for me than you. Flicks his mane that he doesn't have. His imaginary mane that he hasn't. No, much easier for me. Listen, did Johnny get hold of you? Do you know the diaspora want to go somewhere?
Yeah, I've picked up bits from Johnny and Cara in her notes to me, and that they want to know if we know someone over on the planet on Geeka, like someone in authority. Oh,
yeah.
What? How about the guy that did the tour for us? He seemed quite important.
Yeah. I think it's a different kind of important, maybe.
How about that what's his name? Adolphus Adulatory Dry. He was pretty cool.
Although to be fair, the tour guide maybe they run to maybe he just doesn't do just tours in the city. Maybe they do tours to the outskirts of this place where no one's allowed to go, or up to a peak and you can view it from an observation area. He might know something about it. To be fair, now that you mention it.
The only other person I know is old Horatio Perry. He's a captain, isn't he? He knows boats. He could take anyone out to an island without. So many people we can get in touch with. I reckon one of those is definitely a goer.
That's a lot of options, to be fair.
I'm a woman of options.
All with varied backgrounds.
Yeah, maybe not what we want, but that's who I've got.
You might say that our options are some form of jack of all trades between them.
Did you know this mysterious pickle's really good on this meat you got me?
Oh. Just don't tell me about it. Eat what you want.
It's green, but it's also kind of white.
No, that's definitely mould. The white bit, not the green bit. Look, it's fluffy. You can stuff that almost disappears when you tap it, and it just spores everywhere.
I thought that was just a Delabru specialty.
Well, maybe we bought something with this and contaminated the food with it. Well, I suppose the oxygen supply on this thing. Everyone's probably doomed now.
As long as it's not just us that go down.
No.
Come on, lead on, mighty man.
Right, yeah, to shops. We did Cara tell you about the room as well?
No, tell me about the room.
We went to a room.
Oh wow!
Someone tried to kill the Pope. Did you know that?
Yeah,
I don't know how up to date you are.
I jumped over. After you did the shooting, I jumped over and looked at the body. That guy.
I didn't notice.
I held a gun to someone's chin when they were trying to get rowdy towards the Pope.
That doesn't sound like you.
I was really drunk and I was really awesome.
You're just making it up.
You were just busy doing your healing hand stuff.
Anyway, Cara found out where the person's room was, so we went there. We got Sharp's permission. We entered. There was a trap, but nothing, like literally nothing else. And Agnar, I suppose he's got his helmet off at this point anyway because he's eating brunch. But you know his hair is still very floofy and staticky from the electric shock. Anyway, I'm gonna, we'll keep her up to date about that and ask if she knows anyone important on Geeko, I guess.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Yeah, Cara said I should run it past management first and make sure I was accompanied, but...
Okay. Well, I am management, so lead on. I am rating you out of 10 on your performance with Sharp, of course. You do understand that as leadership. But I'm sure you'll do very well.
You do know that adds extra pressure.
The best people thrive on pressure.
Okay.
Come on. I believe in you.
Thanks.
Okay. So you're heading straight to Sharp's office?
Yeah.
Okay. You make your way down the lift at the front of the ship, and it's just the two of you going, Agnar and Soraya.
The front of the ship, yes.
Okay. You make your way down the lift at the front of ship, in the bow section, and pass down through the hot tub area in its lovely sort of broken up slopes. It does appear that the place where the grenade went off is still roped off, but only that area. The rest of the area that came under attack, including the hot tubs that you had reserved for the diaspora, are now fully operational and back in use. But you do notice where the grenade went off, and the hot tub right next to that is still fenced off. The lift opens just one floor down from the hot tubs, and you find yourself in the corridor that leads directly to Sharp's office right at the end.
Wonderful. Do you still want me to lead on? Are you gonna observe from the rear?
I'm already marking your walking, your approach.
Classic general's move. And Agnar will walk down the corridor and knock on the door.
Okay.
7 out of 10. Not so bad.
You know, in a firm, assertive manner.
Could
Staff officer kind of knock.
Could be firmer and more assertive, but not too bad. So.
Okay. You immediately see the door slide open. Sharp is sitting at her desk with a board game, which you recognise as Izixa, on the table in front of her, and she's got a sort of game in progress, and she's playing by herself basically.
How are we spelling this game?
Izixa, EZYXA.
EZYXA. Quite if only that game was Scrabble. Should be doing really well.
It is a good Scrabble word.
It is a very good Scrabble word, yes.
Hello, Sharp. I'm sorry, we're not interrupting, are we?
No, nothing important. Just a little bit of mental exercise, you know.
Mm.
So, how did it go?
I think it would be. It was interesting. I think the most interesting thing was that we literally found nothing apart from a trapped door.
Trapped.
Yeah, it had an electrical discharge, and he gestures at his floofy hair when operated, and then seemed to be recharging itself. So it was set up to keep going off. But other than that, the room was empty. I believe that is right, isn't it, Ben? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
There was literally
It was literally nothing else there. Yeah.
Not even like someone had even been in the room other than to set some kind of horrific electrical trap. Now I've got Cara took some pictures and sent them over to me. I'll and I'll show her the pictures.
Okay. She glances down, spends a few minutes sort of looking at them, and then she says, "Could you send me copies of all of these? I'll need it for our files." The
Yeah, of
trap,
course.
is it recharged now?
No, it was taken out of action. I forget exactly how we did it.
That's good. Thank you. I will send a couple of people over just to do a quick scan, as you might imagine. But I'm not suggesting you missed anything.
No. I mean, a second or third pair of eyes is always good, especially from your well-trained team. Yeah, it was very strange. It seemed very odd that someone who went out on a suicide mission would trap their room that had literally nothing in it. So there could very well be something there that we just missed.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a bit confused about how someone gets on here without us knowing who they are. It shouldn't be possible. You know, we run a reasonably secure ship. We're supposed to know the identity of everyone who comes on board, and this person's identity doesn't seem to exist. We don't know who they are. The room was booked in the name of a fairly generic company, like a corporate transfer, and whoever this person is, they didn't seem to come in through our regular security. So they must have come in as part of a big group, maybe, and just gone in with people who didn't need to worry about the specifics of individually registering for a room or a seat. I suspect they didn't have tickets for the game either.
What? People coming on this cruise and not planning to even watch a game? Soraya blurts out a bit too heartily.
I know, it's shocking. I always find the way that people use a ship like this just to get from A to B truly stunning.
It's not cheap. It's not the cheapest way to get anywhere.
No, it isn't.
I know it's nice. There's the skiing and there's the hot tubbing and there's plenty to do, but still, there's other ways to do that.
Sorry, and good brunch, by the way. I hope you don't mind, but I bought you some just in case. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. She takes a look at it and takes a bite. Yeah.
Greasing,
yes, she
greasing
looks quite
palm
grateful.
Of conversation, 9 out of
10. But sorry, you were saying to go on.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'd finished. I was shocked that there's no reason to. This is that is the one reason it feels like that person was on, which means that person knew the cult were on. How many people knew that the cult were on the ship? Sharp.
Before departure, not many. The block booking that they got their rooms through, it's not an unusual thing to do. It was booked by, a shell company, just a company that you create for the purpose of doing business, and then run your own enterprise underneath it. People who have the right contacts with everything from the Travelers Aid Society to local government can easily set up a set of those. And the booking was therefore made in a corporate name and quite discreet. Absolutely no reason for it to be unusual for someone to do that. Corporates often book trips like this for their staff or their clients, and they don't usually let us know the names of those people in advance, if you know what I mean. But once they were aboard and known, I mean, I think I'm right in saying after their big entrance, everyone on the ship would have pretty quickly learnt they were here. But I'm pretty sure we only had one shuttle arrive after that.
And when did that shuttle turn up?
Well, I don't think it would have made it if we hadn't delayed the jump, to be honest. It was minutes before our revised jump.
Interesting. So it's probably not that. I would imagine that's probably not worth. Now the only people we know, Agnar, when we were in the room, because we got this from Travelers Aid Society, didn't we? So they knew about it. But
the Travelers Aid
pretty
Society
empty in there.
booked us to look after them.
Yeah. And it was very empty in there when we did it. I'm sure there wasn't many people at all.
Yeah, there might have been a couple in the couple that we talked to about membership.
Yeah, true.
But
that's poor form on a Travelers Aid Society to go against a contract that's set out by one of their own. You'd think.
I can't imagine that TAS would do that. No, they would keep it confidential unless you were, as you say, having the discussion in a public place surrounded by other people. But they would keep everything as confidential as they could, surely.
I mean, we weren't in the members area. I don't think, though, were we? It was just the general entranceway.
Yeah.
Because we are not members yet.
No, despite all my years of travel.
And all my years of aid.
And the fact you really, really want to be in a society.
But not a cult.
No, you've probably been. I bet you're in some societies, aren't you, Agnar? Some secret handshakes and that. You've always struck me as the type.
Yes, hundreds of them.
Pull up a trouser leg from time to time, give it a tug.
Yeah, far and wide. There's not a corner of the galaxy in which I am not part of a secret society.
So many secret societies. I would never be a member of any society that would have me as a member. Of course.
That's quite witty. That's right.
I have my moments. I made it up.
Yeah, very good. Could it be possible that they I mean, I guess they have a backer, right? Or somebody that's interested in what they're trying to do. That's sort of how you get these group bookings, isn't it? Well, who?
She pulls up a little bit on the computer and she says, though the reservation was made in the name of a company, the actual booking details were handed by a chap called Marcus Van Cotswolds. But I mean, he's traveling with them.
Not the Geeker Van Cotswolds.
Well, I assume so.
Mm-mm. Ewan, as a player, is now struggling to remember whether I've read that in chat or whether that's been mentioned before and we know this person.
Yeah, I think he is the one from the Traveller's Age Society that took the book.
Yes,
in.
he was. He was the
I-
one you met at the Traveller's Aid Society.
and
And
we-
though you haven't interacted with him a lot, you did meet him briefly at the beginning of the trip.
Yes, he welcomed us in. He might be someone that's
Yeah,
worth
he was
talking
sort of the
to.
first person to get you set up. Yeah.
You know, it might be worth hunting him down, Agnar, and having a word with him. He must be aware of the problems. We might not be aware of the details, and he might have some leads that we don't.
He might definitely have some extra information.
And maybe if you like
It's a
pull
good
your
idea.
trouser leg and do a couple of winks or something, he might have some extra secret stuff for you.
I'll try the usual low level secret handshakes first and see if he's a member of any of those societies.
That's a good idea.
You know, the ones that I don't mind giving away.
Is that the one that you get letters through every now and again on the, like the one it was the front door painters monthly.
I mean, the ones that I don't mind giving away to Marcus van Cotswold. I'm not going to tell you, Sarah.
Oh, belligerent 2 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. Though that's some useful information. We might go chat to them, seeing as we do know them.
It's worth asking. And thanks for brunch, by the way.
I know, you're welcome.
You've got me calling it that now.
Every meal is brunch. We should invite you to a brunch on the Baltic Star one time. You know, when you've got a bit of free time and we're not trucking across the galaxy.
I'd love to see your ship. Yeah.
It's quite an event. Well, it's the brunch that really
Brings
is
it
the
all
shining.
together.
Yeah, it really brings the ship together.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that sounds fun. Thank you. I'll take you up on that.
Mhm.
It's at Geeka, right?
Yes, yeah. That is where we're meeting back up with her.
Well, I have a long turnaround at Geeka. I'm taking a few days off the ship to watch the Pelago race. So I do have a bit of spare time.
Well, in which case we'll definitely have to have you aboard our ship, and you can cause trouble in our backyard rather than the other way around.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Oh, I didn't know that. Sorrel sort of look up from her notes. I didn't realise there's a Pelago race happening around Geeka in the coming days.
It's organised by the same company that owns this ship, and quite a lot of sort of sporting activities. You understand? It's so I get some, shall we say, very good tickets.
Agnar, Pelago races are really good. You should go with Sharp if she's got room. I don't know if you've experienced it before. It's really good, worth it.
No, I don't think I have, if I'm honest. Certainly not that I've paid attention to. You know, I might have been there for a soiree.
Might be nice. Go race with her, and then we can have her back on the ship, and she can have a look around after that.
Well, I don't think we should invite ourselves along. I think even if she invited me now, it would be certainly awkward that you've invited us along. I'm sorry, my colleague here isn't quite as subtle in these social
Right.
situations.
Well, I was just looking up the records, getting myself geared up for it. Last year was the first time someone did the Pelago on Geeka in under 30 hours. And they beat it by over 15 minutes.
Ooh.
That was hell of a run.
I mean, I'm no expert, but 15 minutes seems like a long time.
Really was. Yeah, really was. It's an insane race. It's insanely dangerous. it's remarkable in the way it's performed. And if you've got the right contacts, you can actually see it, at least part of it, from above as they traverse the ocean. It's very special.
Hmm.
You really got to catch it, Agnar. I watched a few when I was, all my years by myself. I sort of tune in and watch some of the highlights and that. Sometimes watch full length race. I had nothing to do for days on end sometimes. You really should. You really should. Okay.
It sounds very exciting. Listen, I'm sorry. I hope you don't find this find it rude of me, but I couldn't help but notice your the game that you've got going on, and you seem to be lacking any opponent. It's been a while.
You
I'm
play?
maybe rusty. As I say, it's been a long time. I used to play with my father from time to time. And I'm not, I don't think I've played since I was a young Varga whippersnapper. So you may have to remind me on some of the rules. But would you mind?
Love to. Would you care to, Sarai?
I've dabbled. I'll make up the 3. Sure. I've lost a lot of money on it over the years, but someone's got to come last, hasn't they?
Oh, I've never played for money. She slides the table into the middle, the board into the middle of the table, and starts pulling out extra pieces from a bag. Says, "I only have the Coalition Wars set. I assume that's acceptable."
That suits me. As I say, I may need a little nudge in the right direction of the rules, but I can turn my hand to most sets.
All right. The 3 of you sit down. First of all, everybody needs to roll 1d6 to determine who gets to be blue, who goes first.
You say you've never played for money. How about something else slightly more interesting as I roll my d6?
Okay. What do you have in mind?
Well, I was thinking the honour of a toast. The first toast, I believe, on the Baltic Star for a long time to a late great barman. I'm sure we must have told them. Perhaps we haven't told you about the honour of Grey Hill Bast on the Baltic Star. There's a big poster in the bar. You'll see it when we arrive for brunch. But brunch is traditionally served after the toast to Grey Hill, who is no longer with us, sadly. But loser makes the toast.
Oh, why not?
May very well. Glad it's not on that roll alone in my 1.
4.
I got a 3.
I'm blue. I'm good with blue. This is my favourite position. Feeling good now.
Okay. So, the board is hexagonal. It's played entirely unlike chess. And as the pieces are handed to each of you, the way the game is played basically is that in color order, beginning with the person who plays in blue, you place what are called terrain pieces sort of in the middle of the board, and then place your own pieces in your own section of the board, one at a time, going round the table. And over time, the terrain pieces build up a sort of pattern, and then you lay out which is shared but by all 3 of you, because the terrain pieces are kind of a joint exercise, and then you each lay out secretly where your pieces are, because you lay them out face down. Each of you has the option of where to put them and in what order, and each piece has a number of things on its side facing you which are secret from the other 2, which indicate whether or not the piece is useful for attacking, defending, or supporting another piece, as well as its ability to move, how quick it is across the board. The Once all of the pieces are laid out, then blue begins by making a move. Essentially, in Uzixa, the moves that you have are to move up to your maximum move distance for that piece. You can't hop over anything. You have to move in any line you like, but it can't go through another piece. You can attack another piece if you're adjacent to it. If you do, then both pieces are revealed. And if you have any piece adjacent to your attacking piece that you wish to use to provide support, you can reveal that at the same time. The defending piece does the same thing, revealing whatever they want to use for defense as well. And then basically, whichever piece loses, if one does, withdraws in the exact opposite direction from the attacking or from the opposite piece by its maximum move, and is then rotated so that it is in what's called a passive state. So one of the move options you have is the ability to use your move to take any passive piece and activate it. While it's passive, it cannot be moved, it cannot be used to attack, and if it is attacked, it's automatically removed from the board. The other way that things get removed from the board is if, when they move their maximum move directly away from a piece that they've lost to, if that space is occupied, they're immediately removed from the board. Okay?
Yep.
Now, I have no easy way of replicating that at relatively short notice with some dice.
Highest dice roll wins. Hey!
The rules
Blue player
are,
wins.
however, written down, and we are going to have to play test this and then give people a chance to play it, I think.
Yes.
So for our purposes, I think what we're going to have to do is something just a little bit simpler for tonight. I'm going to suggest that what we do is each of us rolls 2d6, and then we'll sort of replicate a part of the game's strategy, only one tiny piece of it, by remembering that 2d6 number, whatever it turned out to be, rolling another 2 for support number, but only picking the best of those. So you get a second roll with advantage, add that to the first 2 and see what it kind of adds up to. And we'll have our winner, our second place, and our loser.
Sounds good to me.
So basically 4d6, and you can discard the 2d6 and then 2d6, but discard the lower. Okay.
So it's our best 2d6 from the 2 sets.
Yeah. First 2d6, you keep both of them. Second 2d6, you discard the lowest.
Okay, got it. Cool.
Wonderful. Are we adding anything to this, Ben?
Yes, just add those together, and I have my number, which is not insanely high.
But nothing from our character sheets.
No, I don't think so. Though, I mean, to be fair, Agnar can probably add tactics to this.
I think that seems reasonable. Yeah, he's got the military tactics.
Yeah. Do you want our numbers or not?
Yeah, by all means. We'll just decide it straight through. So, Luke, you got to go first. So, what is Soraya's total?
My total for 3 dice is quite good. It's 11.
11.
Yeah.
Okay. And Agnar?
Sorry, I'm just rolling my second. Not good. Blimey. My total for 3 dice is... I can't pick up 3 dice. I got 2 5s and a 6.
That's very good. Plus your military tactics.
Okay, that would be 16 then.
Plus your military tactics. It's 19.
Yeah.
Oh, Agnar's good at this game.
And well, you will be interested then to know what roles I got. I got a 2 and a 3
Oh no.
for my first 2 dice, and then a 5 and a 3 for my second 2, giving me a total of 10.
Huzzah! Ah, well, you've got to come to our ship now, Sharp, haven't you?
Apparently so.
You're leading the first toast when we get back. Wonderful.
Well played. I did think that you had us there for a minute. I will be honest. I was worried. This brings it all back though. This has whetted my my appetite. I don't suppose there's a souvenir shop or somewhere on board that sells, or even on Geeker, that sells sets.
It's, I mean, you can get a set most places. I'm sure they sell them on the promenade here. But I always think it's better to play with sort of handcrafted ones or special editions, you know, the ones that are a bit more unusual, have a bit of history or some class attached to them.
You would think that, wouldn't you? Is there anywhere that sells things like that on Geeker?
On Geeker, sure. Yeah, there's quite a big craft scene on Geeker actually. It's a bit of a tourist space, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, that is true. And there are certainly parts there that we've seen that are very bohemian and crafty. Wouldn't you say so?
Oh, you got your headed
What was
notepaper
the-
from one of those shops in the old town,
Well,
the arty part.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
We got our
It was in that
jackets.
part of the town that you ended up with headed notepaper and a bug being planted on you.
Very artsy. Well, perhaps when we're on Geeker, you could direct me, or just ping over the location of the of a good shop, and allow me to say that Olivia Sharp sent me when I walked through the door.
Lovely. Yeah, sure. I'll point you in the right direction. No problem.
Thanks. Very kind. Whilst we were having that game, Ben, could Agnar have been discussing the situation with the diaspora wanting to go? He'll be outright. He'll explain everything of where they want to go and who would be.
So
best
he's
to
going to
speak
mention Harrenhal specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a moment where the conversation turns towards that, and Sharp becomes a little bit thoughtful, and she says, "Harrenhal. That was a big topic of conversation quite recently, actually. This ship is owned by the Speranza Corporation, and it runs buckyball leagues and cruises and sports events on planets all over the subsector.
Oh, please tell me how to spell that, because that's a big encyclopedia entry now. Speranza.
No, we don't care about
Spirnza.
Spell again, sorry.
Spirnza.
Yep.
Inza.
Oh, I was right anyway.
It's worth asking though.
Owns buckyball, cruises, like actual cruises, sports stuff, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And she says, well, there was a lot of discussion about Harrenhal because, well, as you know, she says to Soraya, the Pelago race is a race right around the circumference of the planet.
Geeka's not the smallest of the planets either.
Yeah, it's not an insanely long route, because in order to make it work, there is a belt of islands. Pretty much every bit of landmass on Geeka is in one thin belt that runs in a strip all the way around the planet.
I remember, Agnar, we floated across some of those islands. That's where we got to fight all those the sea bats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do indeed.
So you have to basically follow that archipelago all the way around the planet. It's not really an archipelago if it stretches the entire circumference of the planet, of course. You can cover it if you literally do the shortest possible route. It's about 29,000 kilometers. Though the shortest route ever actually attempted is about 30,000. The shortest route ever completed was just under 31,000. And that's because, I'm sure this won't come as a shock, where there are islands rising up, there are also shallows, reefs, rocks, and other things hidden below the surface. And the rules of the race say that you can't be literally flying. You can use ground effect to get yourself off the water a bit, but you can't really be at any great height. And when you're traveling at, say, 1,000 kilometers an hour, stuff comes at you fast. So you can be really safe and sail some way away from the islands, and then just cut in where you really need to in order to get close to the sort of posts, the markers that you have to hit all the way along, and then swing right out the other side and be some way away from the islands. Or you can zip in really, really tight, shorten the distance, and try and steer around every rock and every shelf that you might encounter on the water. The problem, obviously, is that the closer you get to the islands, the shorter the route, and the more dangerous it becomes. So it's a balancing act. Everyone takes their own chances. By Imperial Navy rules, Harrenhal, you're not allowed to come within 100 kilometers of it. But the Pelago, though now it's done with these insane fast craft, they've been doing it for a long time on Geeka and on other planets as well from time immemorial. So Sprinza Corporation managed to get special permission. The craft can go as close to Harrenhal as they can risk, as long as they don't actually make landfall there. Normally, you're not allowed within 100 clicks. And so our competitors have to be told that, this is not just the pros, you understand. This is the locals and amateurs and people just trying for the first time. They've all been strictly told, if you come a cropper within reach of Harrenhal, you have to wait and hope someone picks you up. If you make it to shore, that's not good. The island is dangerous. It's so dangerous, the Imperial Navy has just embargoed it.
What's dangerous about it? Does anyone know? Or is it just danger that's passed down through whispers and rumours amongst those that aren't at the very top?
I don't know exactly when it was ruled forbidden, but it was a while ago. I don't think anyone's ever been officially told. The Navy makes a decision and they just say, that's it.
Is that why you're not allowed there? Because of the danger? Is that the line?
The line is
the official?
It's dangerous, yeah. There are all sorts of possible reasons. the Navy sometimes embargoes a place because they used to use it for weapons testing and it's been left highly radiated or something like that. You know, it could be almost anything.
Hmm. Agnar will look at Soraya. I assume the diaspora know this.
Don't get me excited about. Now I want to enter the race with a boatload of diaspora, just like chuck them out the back as I go past. Oh.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to enter the race, you won't be able to take the diaspora with you. There are
little one-man ships, aren't they? They're tiny little things. They're not good for.
well because the race takes a day and more. They usually work in crews of 2 or 3, but they're going to be small. Yeah, you're not going to be able to carry the diaspora with you.
This is.
I mean, to be fair, Soraya, if we wanted to enter the race and it takes longer than a day, we're going to need to take a lot of brunch with us. That might slow us down.
I don't know if the boat would be big enough for it. So all you have to do is send Kat, and she'll win it single-handed. She don't.
We do have the best pilot,
and she knows Geeker waters. Oh, well, we know the fishing crew. We know all the people. We can put a team together. We can sponsor a team. This could be our second business. We've got our company on De La Brue. Now we can have a Pelago race team. We can get it sponsored by our other company, and we can enter all the races around. We can hire.
Agnar looks deadpan at Sharp and just says, "Just see what you've done."
This is great. This is like my dream come true. I'm envisaging it all right now, Agnar. I tell you what, I might not go back on the Baltic Star. My dreams are made here. I feel at this rate. I need a good reason to come back with you guys. This is magical.
You're going to become a racer. That's your new path in life.
Not a racer. I'm going to become the big cheese. I'm going to walk around with a big suit and big gold chains.
Oh, you're going to manage a team.
Big cigars, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the dream.
Okay, yeah, fair. I could see that. To be fair.
Maybe I'll sleep on it, but this is a. Now this interesting Spirenza. You're saying these are the ones. These are the ones. These are the ones. Thanks, Fids.
That is a good one.
Good. Thank you, Sharpie. This is some really dynamite stuff here. Some really interesting stuff. Really.
It kind of makes me wish that I'd have chosen a career in the Navy. I might have known someone higher up that could help us out. But I don't think we've got any connections in the Navy, have we, Soraya?
No. That's okay then. I don't like the Navy anyway.
Well, I certainly don't. But thanks very much for the heads up and the local knowledge, and thank you again for the game.
I have enough trouble scrubbing my own poop deck every morning, and everyone else's.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and I can't imagine you'll have much luck getting to see Herrenhal unless you see it at very high speed. But they are pretty serious about this. Remember I was saying you can have like a flying craft follow the race if you've got a good enough seat. Well, I'm going to be following it in a plane. When we get too close to Herrenhal, even planes, they have to veer out so they don't get within 100 clicks.
Wow.
Oh, you're not even allowed to view from.
You're not allowed to fly over it. You're not allowed to come close to it unless you're in the race. Nowhere near it.
No, you should definitely go. You should definitely enjoy it with us. You do have space, don't you, Sharp? If Agnar wanted to come, would that be possible?
I I could. Yeah, I could probably pull a string to get Agnar a seat.
Agnar isn't one for looking awkward in social situations most of the time. However, at this point, he's very much doesn't know where to look.
This is one of those situations where when I try and get the roll for Soraya because she's got low social, it goes high, and the high social of Agnar goes low.
This is where the two of them clash in that same situation, I think.
Yeah. So at that moment, because obviously Sharp is aware that Soraya has some experience of the way Pelago race works and all the rest of it, she turns to Soraya and does say, so if you're a bit of an expert, I am curious what you think about new developments and what the future holds for this kind of race piloting, particularly with reference to Pelago.
Now, I've been watching it for a good decade. I was a scout across, and I spent like 12 years on my own. I've watched a lot of live and highlighted races. I wouldn't say I'm a specialist, but I know what I like, and I like what I know. My favourite sort of piloting is a really cheesy approach. There's some that take it really serious, right? They're all focused on the goal, and that's not what it's all about. It's about getting people on your side, and I think there's a way. I think the future is not eye on the prize. It's showboating. It's that cheesiness. It's that sort of waving to the crowd because people can see names just go past. What people remember, people don't always remember the winners. They have their favourites. They have the characters. And so for me, the future of Pelago racing is characters. When you watch one race after another, there's more and more every year. If I was building a team, I wouldn't pick the best ride. The best. I would pick the most interesting. Those that have something. For me, that's the future. I don't know about you. You might be all about the winning, but for me, it is all about the brand and the individual. What do you think, Sharp?
I think you have something there. I really do. Yeah, I really do think you have something there.
Oh, sounds to me like you're going to turn it into the universe-wide Varga Wrestling Federation, but with racing.
People remember the good characters, Agnar. They remember them.
Well, that's true.
Okay. So is there anything else you want to do with Sharp before you make your way?
No, Agnar will just he'll say, well, I'm sure we'll catch up about this whole diaspora assassination thing. If you do find anything in the room, we'd be interested. You're not, of course, no obligation, but
I'll keep you in the loop. I mean, essentially, I'm pretty much relying on you to provide close protection for them, so it would be ridiculous for me to hide anything from you that might help with that.
Indeed. Yeah, and I very much look forward to browsing some artisan craft shops with you when we reach Geeker.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. It'll be a nice change of pace. I didn't really get any downtime in the last changeover, but this end, the race, trip to Earth Park, make a bit of a break.
Yeah, sounds lovely. And of course, brunch.
No doubt brunch. Yeah, I should have known that brunch would be a thing.
Anyway, we'll leave you to the rest of your day, unless you have anything else. So,
well, Sharp, as Agnar's like pushing her out. So I'll say, well, if you could get us into Earth Park by any chance, we have been banned. So don't ask why, but it was Agnar's fault. Come on,
I don't
Agnar,
know, so I did say it was a lifetime ban. I don't think they hand those out to just anyone.
What's a lifetime in politics? Come
Okay, good.
Oh, I mean, she looks at you kind of helplessly. I don't even know how you get banned for life from Earth Park.
on. We do know we are friends with the diaspora now, and they do own it. Put in a good word with the Pope. Stefan's the one. Get Stefan to put in a good word with the Pope.
Pull some strings for us.
We'll get reinstigate. Yeah, we'll be there. We'll get lifetime tickets if we get them to the island. We'll put that in our list of requests.
Yeah, that's a good. That would be a very good bargaining chip, I think. You know, we get you into an Imperial Navy banned dangerous island, and you revoke our lifetime ban from your theme park.
I've never seen you look so disappointed than when she told us we were banned. I think it's worth it just to put a smile back on your face.
I mean, it would definitely be worth it.
Definitely worth it. Okay. All right. You make your way out of Sharp's office, and as you do so, I think that's a good time for us to take our break.
Perfect.
Thanks, Ben. Leave me waiting on my feedback, my appraisal.
Oh, leave you sweating. You can learn after a break. Thank you, everyone. We're going to go for a 5-minute comfort break. We suggest you do 2, but we also suggest that you come back. We really appreciate you joining us again in a few minutes. For the toast, of course, so refill your glasses with whatever you're drinking, and we'll see you in a few. ladies and gentlemen, for the last time for a while, Ewan.
Oh, hi. Thanks, Luke. Welcome back, everybody, to the most important part of the Voice from the Baltic Star Traveller stream, which is the toast to our late barman, Grey Hill Bast, the man behind me, the man on your screen. Those of you who were watching before the break may have noticed that Ben lost an in-game game of chance to me, and as such, he should be toasting. But I managed to twist his arm into letting me do one more. And depriving you all of hearing Ben's smart, funny, intelligent, and generally much better than my rambling toasts. But I did have something prepared. I had something prepared for 2 weeks ago when we last played Traveller, funnily enough, to coincide with the season finale of The Rings of Power. But alas, for some strange reason, we didn't do a toast that evening because I think we were keeping a short game. I think it was my fault. Anyway, without too much further ado, a poem that was long passed down in lore through Grey Hill's family and that he had on a plaque behind the bar in the Baltic Star, or some canon like that, you know, whatever. All that is Goldschlager does not glitter. Not all those who drink here so prost. The spirit that's strong doesn't better. Deep friendships when crewmates get sloshed. The fireball whiskey shall be woken, a light beer from the cellar shall spring. Renewed shall be jigger that was broken. The barman again shall be king. To the late great Grey Hill Bast.
Grey Hill Bast.
The late great Grey Hill Bast.
That was fabulous. And that's what I've got to follow.
What a way to finish up.
To Grey Hill, to Grey Hill, to Grey Hill.
To Grey Hill, indeed.
That was superb.
Ah, thanks. I mean, I wasn't going to waste it. I spent literally like 10 minutes and poured blood, sweat and tears into making
You
it.
say, blood, sweat and tears went into that.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. It was a very good thing. Yes.
He's a very poetic boy, is our Ewan Fids. You know that. He's got a poetic heart. He's a gentle soul.
He does like to rip other people off.
That's also very true.
Certainly pay homage in a very strong way.
Ripping off is just paying homage, let's face it.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's a very fine line, which I quite often just stomp all over.
Fids, you can be an honorary housewife, just so that you can have Ewan as your favourite. Where's the... Oh,
Okay.
there he is. Hang on a sec. Before you start, I feel we need to There we go. I think it felt right. I'm not always drawn to such things, but it just felt right now.
It felt like the right moment, yeah.
I think so.
Okay. So, now that we have you and Bunny,
Which is best, Ewan, to be fair.
I'm so impressed with that graphic. It's a thing of beauty. So, what are you guys up to next?
Oh, goodness knows.
As we leave the office, Agnar will say to Suarez, when do I get the feedback?
So I sort of
No, it's important to help me grow as a team member.
Pulls her sheet up to her chest protectively. He says, "Well, I've got to add all the numbers together, which won't take long because it's quite a low number, and I've got to sort of put together all my notes into one final paragraph. You know, what to work, what's good, what to work on, and so on. I reckon by tomorrow I'll be able to give you your latest report, and hopefully you will see it as a positive thing. I'm not doing it to be mean. I'm not doing it to break you down. I'm doing it to build you up, to make you a stronger person, a greater member of the crew. We all want to be the best, and I think you can be. It's there.
Thanks. I think. I look forward to reading it. It should make for an interesting read. Of course, I used to do these all the time back in the military.
Oh, did you?
You know, for other people.
How does it feel to be on the other end of it?
I'll let you know tomorrow.
Well, let me just say, you probably haven't scored the lowest out of everyone, so see that as a good thing.
Oh, that is a good thing.
Yeah, that's good.
Don't come last. Right, I think that's all I had done. Who's on shift next? Your management, you should know.
I do. Currently on shift, as I left, it was Zoe and Rose because Cara got a bit of a freebie because she worked with you earlier, and then I believe in an hour or two, Agnar, it would be you and Kat, but of course Kat is
Rose is in hospital.
yeah, Rose and so it was just Zoe and someone. I can't remember who bumped in with Zoe. It was Zoe
I
and
think
someone.
I think it was Johnny who stepped
Johnny
up.
stayed up. So Agnar and Kat was the next, and then it was going to be me and Rick later on this evening.
Well, Kat is fit enough to stand guard. Yeah.
So Agnar, you probably need to get back soon anyway to do the afternoon shift.
Oh well, of course I've been working with you now, and as you said, Cara was working with me earlier, so she gets some time off now.
We all need a bit of time off after working with you for a while, Agnar. We love you.
And I've been working with myself for many a year.
That doesn't
so
count.
Imagine...
Oh.
All right, I'll get some sleep.
You got space. You got about an hour and a half, I think, before you're on shift.
Oh, it's that dangerous time between power nap or coffee.
Oh yeah, because you just wake up extra sluggish if you nap for that much time.
I don't know. You've never seen a vulgar power nap. I'm gonna go get some sleep.
I have. I often sit at the end of your bed and watch you while you sleep. Remember that. I might do it in a minute.
It's the most awkward time to drop it into a casual conversation to her.
Okay. So are you setting off back to quarters?
Yeah, Agnar will.
So Ra's going to call Rick, if that's okay.
Of course, yeah. Rick answers pretty much immediately.
Hey, Ricky, baby, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Buckyball for a few hours. Drinks on me.
Perfect.
Good man. You know where we're sitting. I'll see you there. I'll have the mimosas ready. You bring the cheese. Cheese and mimosas all afternoon.
Cheese balls, okay.
Cheese balls will do. I'll mark you. I'll give you a good score for that. Have I told you that I'm marking everyone at the minute, Rick?
I don't think you mentioned it. No.
I'll show you. I'll give you a good score because you know we're buckyball buddies. You don't need to worry.
Excellent.
I'll see you in a few.
Yep. See you soon. Okay. So with Rick on his way, Agnar, can you roll for me, please? A recon check.
Yes.
With
recon
intellect.
With intellect. That's an 8 on the dice plus 1 for recon.
A 9. Okay. As you make your way directly back to the quarters, the accommodation, you begin to realize that there's just a bit of a hubbub in front of you, close to the the area where the diaspora is staying. Zoe is up at the top of the lift, keeping an eye on things, but there are a number of people clustered around, and she's encouraging them to stay back with an occasional sharp word. But there are a few people who are sort of stepping up to try and peer into the lift whenever it opens, as it's just doing to let Rick Verlo come out. And he seems a bit startled to see there's a crowd around the lift. And Zoe is, saying, stay back, stay back. So by the time you get there, she's looking a little bit irritated by the people who've turned up.
Soraya, is Soraya still with me?
She's half walked back with the idea that she'd sort of catch Rick as he was sort of walking out, but she wasn't coming all the way back. So she's within eye line, I guess, if you need her, but she's not at your shoulder.
Not seeing her immediately around, he'll barge his way through the crowd to get through, and he'll, in his most commanding military voice, just say, "Everybody, step back."
Okay. Can you roll a persuade with social, please?
I can. Oop, almost drop it. That's a 5 minus 1 overall, so that's a 4.
Okay. Nobody seems to be paying that much attention. There are a few people, 3 or 4, who seem to be sort of most active. They're clustered around the door, but they've attracted a bit of a crowd of people who are some variation on between wanting to join in or at least stand there and see what's going on. There's enough disturbance that it's attracting a bit of interest.
So there's like a particular, does there appear to be a ringleader, I guess?
3 or 4 that you can spot who seem to be most interested. Yeah.
Okay. He'll position himself between them and who was at the top of the lift? You just said it. Sorry.
Rick's just.
It's Zoe at the lift.
Zoe. He'll position himself between them and Zoe. And assuming there's no major threat, he'll remove his head protection, I suppose, judging the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And feeling that, a Varga and a sharp set of teeth may help things along. And he'll start pushing them back.
Physically pushing them.
Yeah, he'll hold up his shotgun and use it as a just a way to drive them back into the crowd, I suppose.
All right. Can you make an athletics strength check with strength, please?
Yes, his best moves.
Oh no.
I mean, luckily he has an athletics strength.
More than just his strength.
Yeah, that is 11 minus 1 is a 10.
Well done, Agnar.
10. Okay.
So obviously all that adrenaline.
And all that adrenaline. Okay. All right. Despite your fairly firm pushing, one of them shoves back easily. Another couple definitely hold their own and are fairly sturdily responding in kind, trying to sort of shove you back towards the lift, the top of the lift shaft. Zoe's going to yell very loudly for everyone to get back. She's been trying to keep it a bit more low key, but now she's going to just yell at the top of her lungs and see if she can make a persuade. which does not go down well. So, so that does not. It turns out she rolled a 3. That does not. It turns out encourage people to back off. In fact, if anything, it makes them more angry and more upset. You can start to hear a couple of the people, not so much these ringleaders who seem to be fairly quiet and just focused on getting as close to the lift shaft as they can. But there are a couple of people who are in the back who are now shouting insults about the diaspora, about this cult and these people shouldn't be on the ship, and that kind of thing. It's starting to build into more of a disruptive crowd, and the guy directly in front of Agnar is going to swing a punch and try and hit Agnar as best he can.
How very dare he?
Okay, it's a total of a 12 to hit. Agnar is, however, mostly wearing his armor. What is the what is the normal defense of Agnar's armor?
Right, sorry, let me just double check this, because he's got plus 17 combat armor, but then he's also got he's got plus 1 from an augment that he got when he demobbed.
Right, so plus 18. What I'm going to suggest then is the guy's obviously going to try and go for the head since Agnar's rolling. So on that basis, that's going to be a much harder shot. So instead of his 8, that's going to be a 12. He does therefore land a hit because he did a total of a 12.
Yeah.
Okay. Agnar takes 2 points of damage to his endurance.
Oh. Yup.
And you're up. And Zoe will basically follow your lead, whatever you choose to do.
Can Agnar look, first off, he'll look over his shoulder to Rick. Was Rick just coming out of the lift, did you say?
Yes, Rick's just come out of the lift and he's looking a bit startled, as you might imagine.
He'll say, "Can you call Soraya? She's management. It looks like we might need some help."
Okay. He actually steps back into the lift and opens up his communicator. I need you to make a recon check for me, please, with advantage, with a boon, because you're very much alert at this moment.
Sniff crowd. That is 11 plus 1 is a 12.
Okay. As Rick steps back into the lift and the doors begin to close, you spot someone in the crowd, not one of the 3 or 4 that were at the front, but someone who looks a bit familiar to you.
Oh no.
You do recognize this person's face, and they are holding something in their hand and getting ready to throw it into the lift.
Oh no. I've told Rick what to do. Do I have anything left? Are we in turns?
Well, if you think about how long it takes for him to come out of the lift and go back in again, you've probably got an entire 1 combat turn, basically, yes. Zoe did not notice anything, so she's still just staring down the the people on the front line, so to speak.
Okay, Agnar he'll stop pushing against the people who is trying to push back. Ideally in a way where he can just step out the way and hopefully they'll fall forwards.
Okay.
And he'll make his way. He'll get as far as he can towards the lift door with an aim to try and stop, catch, ? Anything that gets thrown.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Your back is almost to the door. You won't have any difficulty making that distance. And let's start with the obvious. You're going to cross behind Zoe in order to do it. So as you back out, she'll actually be able to cover you from anyone that you were shoving against. They'd have to go round her, if you see what I mean, to get to you. So you do find a little bit of space there. So let's see how well the guy does, first of all. Not especially well. He lets it go, and it's pretty clear, just from the flight of it, that it isn't actually going to make it into the lift doors. Not very far away, but as the lift doors are closing, it's sort of targeted. So the way it's actually been thrown, it will hit the outside of the lift rather than go inside. Do you want to try and block it, catch it, let it hit the lift?
Agnar will try and catch it.
Okay. Can I please have an athletics dexterity plus dexterity?
Yes. Oh no, that's not good. There's a 3 on the dice, but it is +2, so it's 5.
Okay. You reach for it, but it misses your grasp. Flies past and hits the side of the lift. It drops down onto the concourse floor, and a fraction of a second after it hits the ground, it ignites, catching fire, producing an enormous amount of smoke immediately, and a wall of heat that you can actually feel on your face. You and Zoe are closest to it. So I'm going to suggest that you may have a chance to dive out of the way with an athletics dexterity roll. And then we'll try and work out what's happened to Rick. Okay?
Yeah.
So athletics dex plus dex. And you have a boon if you want it.
Oh, I would definitely use the boon. I'll keep those and I'll roll one more. Thanks for the booned me. Oh,
Spares it.
That's what we're talking about. I'll get rid of the 2, and that's a 12 plus 2 is 14.
14.
Thanks, Sparrow.
You practically do a perfect gymnast somersault out of the way of the blast as it happens.
What a guy.
Zoe is not as quick, but she doesn't do too badly either. As she scampers away to the side, the flame does catch up with her and just sort of lick across her back briefly. And she takes a little bit of damage. As she flees. As for the doors, let's find out exactly how close they are. I'm just going to roll a die for this, sort of judge it that way. You can definitely see as the door's shut, the edges of the flame just lick around the corner of the door, but not enough to do more than startle Verlo, who like backs suddenly up against the rear of the lift as the door's shut, and then the lift starts its way down. The fire is burning, and it's beginning to spread out, but quite slowly, as if it's burning liquid. So you're not in any immediate danger of getting overwhelmed by it because it is spreading slowly. It would have been a much more dangerous situation had it burst inside the lift, put it that way. But almost immediately there's clamor. There are people scattering in all directions, of course, and you can start to hear various alarms going off because there's fire on board a spaceship, and that's not a good thing.
Can Agnar see the person who threw it, the familiar person?
Roll a recon check for me, please. Or you can actually have streetwise if you prefer. Either way with intellect.
Agnar does not prefer. 7 + 1 is an 8. Whether that's good or
okay. not. Yes, you can see them fleeing along with lots of other people, you understand. And they're in the sort of crowd or trying to blend in with the crowd of people running away.
Can Agnar run after them?
Yes, absolutely. I think you've actually got an advantage here in terms of catching, because the distance, the area that you're running through now is basically devoid of people. Everybody's run away from that. Whereas your potential assailant is in that crowd and has to run a bit more slowly. So I'm going to suggest you would you'll probably catch up to them in about 3 turns or so, I would guess. So as you're heading off in pursuit, you can be doing a minor action kind of thing to call for help or something else like that. Anything that doesn't interfere with your running. And while you're doing that, I will. I'll do a quick check for what Zoe can see and what she's going to do. Okay, she's now got on top of it, having missed him the first time, and she's going to join you in the running. And she, like you, has no problem getting an easy start with no people around. So there we go. Unless you want to do anything else like call for help on the way, you'll catch the guy in 3 turns.
Agnar will. I don't know the easiest way to do this while running. He won't try and message someone. I guess he'll try and call Soraya.
I'm guessing she's moving back in that direction anyway, because she was at a distance anyway, and she received Rick's message, right?
Yes, yeah. She will have received the message, but he actually stepped back into the lift in order to make that call. So what you'll have heard is a bit startled from Rick. It won't have been a sort of calm and measured response.
But I imagine Agnar will be pretty easy to spot. I don't know. There may be loads of Varga here, but you know, he'll hold his shotgun above his head as he's running.
Okay.
Shout, Soraya, they're running this way.
Okay. Soraya, can you roll streetwise or recon for me, whichever you prefer, with intellect?
Look, man, I didn't get into role playing to make a roll. All right.
Oh, you came so close to not having to make.
Not even a whole session without rolling. I like 3 hours of that rolling. What am I rolling? Streetwise.
Streetwise or recon, your choice, with intellect.
Streetwise would be good because I've got a +1 with that. +1 with my intellect. They're quite warm. They've been in my hands all night. Let's see what we get. Ah, you see, sweaty dice. 10 plus 2 is
nice.
12. It was worth the wait, I say.
So what's the final number?
12. 12. Can you hear me? 12.
12.
12.
Okay. Not only are you able to spot what's going on, but you can actually plot an intercept course if you like. You won't get there before them, but you'll get there about the same time as the other two.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. The guy, he's clearly now starting to get clear of the other crowd, and he's less interfered with, and he's beginning to accelerate. And you can almost get that sense from the set of his shoulders that he thinks, finally, I can now get moving. And it's at that moment that the three of you converge on him. Having had just a little bit of a faster, just a slightly faster head start while he had to accelerate. Okay, so what are you doing?
Yoink.
What's your plan?
Agnar will immediately try and grab his, I assume from behind, try and lock through his arms, going off of the previous person who blew themselves up and the fact that this guy had an explosive or incendiary device upon him.
Okay. So you want to basically like wrap your arms around his and take him to the ground?
Yeah. Unless
Okay.
Soraya's got anything she wants to jump in with first.
No, she's drawing her Gauss pistol, ready to pistol whip him if need be. So that's what she'll be, as you're sort of grabbing into him, that's what she'll be drawing.
Okay. All right. You set off and grab and try and wrap your hands around him. I'm going to need an athletics dex with dex, please.
Yeah. Sorry. That's 9 plus 2 is an 11.
Okay, that's wildly better than his attempt to evade. You do indeed clatter into him, wrap up his arms in yours, and your fairly substantial armored suit adds considerably to your mass as you hit him. And you do, in fact, take him down, and the pair of you kind of slide along the deck just a few feet before coming to a stop in a heap. And the guy basically tries to struggle, can't wriggle free, and as he looks up, he's got Zoe on one side of him and Soraya on the other, both of them armed.
Can Soraya try and pistol whip him, but in his shoulder? She doesn't want to knock him out, but she's a bit grumpy about the whole situation. Buckyball's been ruined. Her friends are getting grief. She wants to cause him a bit of pain without knocking him out in case.
Yeah, can you make a melee attack, please?
I can.
She's halfway through adding up Agnar's score and now she's forgotten the number.
That's your choice.
Yeah.
That's your choice of strength or dex, whichever one you want.
Yeah.
And your melee combat value.
Well, strength or dex are both, well, they're the same plus minus, but
so it'll be unarmed combat.
Okay. Here we go. Okie dokie. It was a my second 10, but it's -1 this time. It's 9.
Okay. You land a solid clonk, frankly, onto the guy's shoulder. Can you roll 1d6 for me, please? And add 1 to it.
3 plus 1 is 4.
4. Okay. He lets out a yell of pain. You've hurt him.
Yeah, Agnar, what's going on? Who is this guy?
This is the guy who was following me. That is right, isn't it, Ben?
It is.
He's also the guy that tried to burn Rick to death with some kind of fire grenade.
Whoa, he tried to burn my boy Rick to death.
Yeah. You see
Can
that fire over there? That almost ended up in the lift with Rick.
Can she just like not trying to cause injury? Can she slap him around the back of the head?
Yeah, he's pinned
Yeah.
and hurting.
You
I'm
dick.
not going to make you roll for that. You can
You-
slap him around the back of the head.
You dick! Don't you hurt my boy? We were going to watch Buckyball together for this afternoon, and now he's scarping downstairs. You all right, Agnar? You two all right?
Yeah, I'll be okay.
Zoe's going to just nod and say, "Fine."
Agnar will say to the person, "Do you know who that was that you tried to brutally murder? Do you know what their job is? What do you think they do?"
He doesn't say anything.
Well, let me tell you, they are nothing to do with the cult other than some hired help and protection. They're not a fighter.
He's a biologist.
He's a civilian.
Unbelievable.
Doesn't say anything.
What do you think, Sarai? Should we call Sharp or should we deal with this ourselves?
But Sharp will, Sarai will try and catch a look in his expression as she says it, I guess. She'll say, well, we could call Sharp, but that'd all be like by the book and official. We could drag him off somewhere where no one else knows where it is and sort it ourselves.
Where's the nearest airlock? Do they work during jump?
Nah, but we've been down the bottom. There's places we can definitely discard of a body. There's some. Do you remember we went past? There's some really gnarly moving cogs down there. Some really nasty stuff.
Oh, that machinery.
Yeah, man. Why bother with security? She's only gonna like give him a nice room and feed him and stuff and keep him safe. You don't deserve it. He nearly killed our biologist.
She might be able to get some useful information though.
Is he worth it though? To be honest, I don't think he's got anything, has he?
No, you're right.
Get rid of him.
You're right. Bows of the ship it is, and Agnar will keep hold of his arms, but try and yank him to his feet.
All right. Can you roll a persuade, please? Both of you with intellect.
Why, Agnar? Why?
Oh, I'm quite good with this. Both my characters are persuasive. Oh, I'm glad I got the pluses though, because that's less. That's 7, but 7 plus 2 is 9.
Okay.
Mine is a 10 minus persuade with intellect is -3. It's a 7.
Okay. As you pick him up and start to manhandle him, he does start to speak a little bit. And all he says is, "Kill me."
See, now you've got me thinking that's what you want,
Oh man, I suddenly don't want to kill him anymore.
which isn't what we want, is it, Sarah?
I want to do the opposite of what he wants.
But then, does he know that?
You think he's trying to double bluff? You know what the middle ground is? The middle ground is to cause a load of pain but keep him alive. That's kind of win-win. Do you know what I mean? All that
That's
time you
true.
spent in the military, you must know good ways to hurt someone but keep them alive for a long time, right?
I mean, no official ways. They're all pretty painful and frowned upon.
Well, in the dark room that we know, it doesn't need to be official.
Okay.
Yeah, keep him alive then. Unless he wants to say anything. Just we can keep him down there. What we got nearly a week, haven't we?
And as she
And then we
says,
can hand
unless
him
he
over.
wants to say anything,
Yeah.
Agnar will twist his arm. One of them. Yeah, I mean, it could be a long jump.
Yeah, you have
listen-
about 6 days left on the jump.
Why don't you lead on then? Give Rick a call. Make sure he's all right, would you? I've got my hands full.
Okay. Oh well, remember, so you got 6 days, so you can talk. You're good. We got a few people, and then you can like always pass them over to security afterwards.
That's true. We found
Yeah.
him that way.
Exactly. We can just say we're taking care of it. She trusts us. I'll give Rick a call.
Thanks.
She tries to call Rick.
Okay. Rick answers and immediately says, "Is everyone okay?"
Sarai will quite loudly say, "We're okay. We managed to find the guy that chucked the thing. He's not going to be okay though. He's going to have 6 days of being very not okay before security recover him. I'm sure you'd be quite happy to involve yourself in some of the not okaying. You're a biologist. You know the best parts of the body, right? For such a thing."
I mean, I've always been a fan of the spleen.
The spleen. Oh man, I've heard about the spleen. That's not the best place for pain, is it? Good
Be
man.
pretty uncomfortable, I think.
We'll get you in tomorrow for some heavy duty spleen work. We'll book you in. We'll get a rota going.
Good. Thanks. I think.
That's okay. I'm glad you're okay. But for now, we'll keep our plans going. I'll see you there soon.
Okay.
And she hangs up at that point.
Okay.
Agnar will just say, "Oh, Soraya, when you do the spleen work, can I please not be there? I've seen that once before, and it was horrific to even watch."
It's
Okay.
funny. It's funny. It's funny, Agnar, isn't it? Because most biologists take interest in sort of life and creativity, but Rick is much more interested in the death and pain side of things.
Yeah, well, he was a mortician for a while. I heard.
I did hear that. I did hear. Interesting. He's going to have
Quite macabre.
He's going to enjoy his day tomorrow. He's not done something like that for a while.
Can you both roll a persuade for me, please? With intellect.
If we've not gained anything for all our wonderful talking.
I need to learn to stop leaning into what I've already proved is. Oh, that's not bad though. That's 11 minus 3.
Oh, well done. I've hit an 8. I've hit an 8 plus 2. It's a 10.
Okay.
I've hit 9.
The two of you are sort of doing a double act together, and as you walk down the concourse, attracting a fair amount of attention, as you can imagine. There are a lot of people around, and those people are hearing sort of just snippets of what you're saying as you come by. The guy is starting to look more and more despondent, not particularly frightened exactly, but he turns first to Soraya, because obviously Agnar's basically pinning him from behind, so he can't look straight into Agnar's face. But he looks across to Soraya and he says, "Please, I have to die." and he glances wildly across at Zoe, and says, "Please kill me." And she gives a sort of curt nod and goes, "Sure, eventually." Um, and
we all have to die sometimes.
he looks, quite depressed and upset, but he's not struggling at the moment.
For anyone just tuning in, this normally isn't how our streams go, but this person did try and blow up one of our crewmates, so I just thought I'd put that out there. Can Agnar lean into Soraya and he'll whisper, can you ask Zoe if she can find anything out?
Yeah. So I will sort of ease away around from her side to the other side to Zoe's ear, and we'll sort of low voice into it, like, what are you getting? What are you getting from him?
Okay. Let's see. Second. Less travelled parts of the rules, you understand?
Actually, dipping into the rules is quite less travel for us.
Okay. She takes a moment, and then she leans over and she says, "Nothing that makes any sense."
What's the guy wearing?
Regular clothing, for the most part, with a single sort of carapace, armored vest, not unlike a flak jacket, but thinner and made of a hard material.
Soraya says, "Oh, excuse me," and starts feeling around in his pockets.
Okay. Can you roll an investigate for me, please, with intellect?
I can.
Or dex, if you prefer, actually.
No, I do not. Oh, investigate is the one that I want to develop, isn't it? Who is it I want to develop that with? Someone. We need an investigator. I know that much. Have either of yours got that, Ewan? I feel we're short on investigation.
Agnar's got one. Stefan does not.
No, it's weak. He's the only one that's got anything. Okay, well, we'll see. That's my second 8 of them. I'm running really well. 8 plus 1 minus 1. So it was a -1 for my jack of all trades, but +1 for my int.
Okay. You find in there, in one of his pockets, a device, shall we say, that you can feel a device down there that's roughly the same kind of size and shape as the one he threw at the lift.
Mate, did you not back yourself to do it in one go?
He sort of looks up a little bit alarmed at you, and then he says, "That one wasn't for you."
But now, who else have you got your eyes on? You see, you're talking my love language here. But Agnar, since you've known me, what have I used? I've used smoke. I've used plastic. I've used grenades. TDX. I've used breaching. I've
That's
used
true.
a whole lot, haven't I? I'm a big fan of this kind of stuff. You know, and it's very interesting to me. If your first one was for up here, were you hoping to get further down for the second, or was it for a totally different target? You know, because I like to portion out mine, what I'm going to use it for.
Okay. He says, if you take it out and look at it, it should be obvious. But when he says that, he rolled a really, really bad persuade. And it's pretty clear he wants you to pull it out of his pocket.
Agnar will definitely say, do not remove it from his pocket.
Now, when you said you wanted to die, is that linked to wanting us to pull it out of your pocket, my friend, my pal, my buddy? You see, I think it might do better in there for a while. I'll have a look at it later in a couple of days' time. It can stay there for a while, can't it? As long as you keep your hands away from it.
He's looking very depressed. Where, by the way, are you marching him to at this point?
I'm following Soraya. She knows where all the dark places on the ship are, apparently.
Now, one of the dark places I know was Soraya went with Kara and
Yep.
who was the three of them when they went down to the area to like pull the wires.
There is.
It was Cat, wasn't it?
Yeah, there is an entrance like that
were
in
going to those dark
every
places.
one of the accommodation suites. You just go down to the bottom level and then open the hatch, which takes you to the outer skin of the ship.
We're going to walk to one that's not too busy, if that makes sense. One that's looking
Yeah.
quiet. And
that's definitely a choice. It's not going to be busy necessarily when you get before you get there, but you are kind of being followed by a group of people who are curious at what's going on. They don't look angry or anything. They're just genuinely fascinated by this guy being marched along the concourse.
Oh dear, hang on, let me just check something. Soraya's not very she's persuasive-ish, but almost. She'll whisper to the guy so that Agnar can hear. She'll say, "So right, we're really near this place, and we know you might know them. You're a sly one. You seem to be popping up all over the place, but there's like these places we know. We've been there before. We've been involved in all sorts of stuff on this ship, and we can take you down this little place that ain't no one going to find you if no one knows. Agnar's going to take you on down now with Zoe. I'm just going to get rid of these guys following, because they're kind of like your last link to knowing about you. And once we've taken you down, no one knows. Security don't even know, because we can go off camera down there. She knows there's sort of cameras and stuff because we've
Yeah.
Because so Agnar, you know where you're going. You know where to take him, don't you? Like down.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You can always call Kara and get her to remove some of the CCTV footage as well.
That is true. She can get rid of anything. She can delete this whole thing. As far as anyone's concerned, you don't exist. Just in our imagination till we know what's going on. And then, once we know what we need to know, you can die, sweet release, or you can go and sit in a quiet room and get fed until you get back to Geeka. But now, if you'll excuse me, and Soraya peels off to the crowd that's following them, I guess, leaving Agnar to deal with him.
Okay. You're sort of marching him closer and closer to one of these that looks off. And so, what exactly are you doing, Soraya, to discourage pursuit by the crowd of onlookers?
If she sort of pauses, if she stops, do they seem to be trying to get past and follow them, or are they willing to like stop to listen
They're
to
standing
her?
quite well back, just pursuing out of interest. I don't think they want to be too close to a potential arsonist in case something goes suddenly bang. But they're curious. So if you sort of peel off the group,
Yeah.
you should be able to easily just stop and then talk to them as they approach or wave them off and see how persuasive you are.
That's the plan. So I will sort of stop with her arms held out. They know there's no weapon on her or anything like that. She's like, whoa, 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 yeah, guys, whoa, whoa. What she'll say to them? What's up, guys?
No one responds, but they sort of stop and look at her, and they're just curious, I guess.
Did you guys see what this guy did?
There's a sort of general look of bafflement. It's not clear how many of them actually witnessed his original attack, how many saw the tackle instead and were wondering what that was all about. But a few of them obviously heard what you said, which did include a cereal box version of the events leading up to it.
No, don't worry about that. That's been taken care of. Don't worry about him. He's had a bit to drink. You know how people get on Bucky Boy. It's day one of the big match, right? People get a bit overexcited. I do. I have in the past. I'm sure you. She points to like a lady. I'm sure you have, madam. You know, I don't want to cast judgment on you, but I'm sure we all have our moments. And you, sir, like I can see you've got one in your hand still. It happens, right? You're a bit overexcited, a bit carried away, and my friends are just making sure that he's okay. He's fine with himself. He's fine with everyone else. And if there's any big concern, you know, there's security on the ship and everything is cool, because the main aim for me and for all of you, I'm sure, is to have a great week watching some top quality buckyball. Um, Especially for me, I want Dillabrew to win. I don't know, up the Dillabrew. Any Dillabrew fans here?
That's, okay, roll a persuade for me.
Okay.
With intellect, please.
Okay. We'll see. That's another 7. That's a 7 plus 2 is 9.
Okay, yeah, a couple of people nod a bit at your mention of Dillabrew, the team.
You see. And any Hakat fans?
Yeah, a couple more nods.
You see, look, we're here for that, right? Don't worry about him. Don't let him ruin your day. We've got look. She looks at her like had the time on like, a watch or a device or whatever. So look, lunch is just coming to an end. The next section is going to go. Come on, I'll come. Should we go? How many of them are there?
Maybe a dozen.
I took what's that? 12. I'll tell you what. I've got a tab on my company, right? Should we go get some mimosas, and then should we drink at Should we drink at the bar? Should we drink at Are we near a Kookaburra or are we near a Duke's? What side of the ship are we on?
You're closer to a Kookaburra here.
Is it? Look, I know for some of you Kookaburra's not yours, but look, not for me either. Let's go I'll buy us all a drink at Kookaburra, and then we'll just be in time, ready for the afternoon. Everyone's a winner. Everyone's made something out of it. Everyone's had a drink out of it. Seen a bit of excitement, a bit of weariness, and should we go?
You know what I'm going to say? Roll persuade with Boone.
Ah, good man.
And
Did you
intellect,
offer to
please.
buy a mimosa?
I'm very persuasive. Yeah, the mimosa is always a boon.
You're offering a drink. You're being very personable, and sure.
I'm very glad one was a boon. Well, we never know, do we? Which one it is? It's a 2, a 5, and a 4.
Okay.
So that's a 9. It's 11, which is a good roll.
Right. The group starts to become just a little bit more chatty, a bit more relaxed, and they nod and let you sort of shepherd them towards Kookaburra.
As she sort of goes, she'll start trying to chat with them about some of the players. Like, how about so and so? Good start today. She's not been watching it, I guess, because she's been sleeping. But she sort of knows the score. So how about this? What are we feeling about this? Oh, good start for so and so. Well, not too bad. What are we thinking about this afternoon? Come on, we'll chat about it over drinks.
Okay. You sort of start shepherding them that way, and I mean, I'm sure you won't necessarily have to stick with them very long once you bought them a drink. But yeah, they seem quite encouraged by the thought of a drink, especially in Kookaburras, which is quite a smart place to have a drink, and with a very, very good view of the match, which is getting underway again now.
It's a better view than going to the dark places for some torture.
Certainly is. Yes, it certainly is. So while that's happening, Agnar.
Agnar will turn to Zoe. Do you want to? We're going down, aren't we? Do you want to push the lift button?
Sure. Zoe summons the lift. Takes a few seconds. The lift door opens. There doesn't seem to be anyone here. You've picked a quiet one, as you said, and you can go inside if you wish.
Yeah. Take
Okay.
him in and down.
As you start to take the lift down to the very bottom level, he suddenly begins to struggle really hard. So can you roll your choice of dex or strength with the matching athletics skill, please?
Yes. I'm tempted to say strength, but I think we all know that's a bad,
Don't push
a
it.
bad decision. That is an 8 plus 2 is a 10.
Okay. As he struggles, he manages to wriggle just one arm loose, and it immediately dives towards the pocket where Soraya found the object. Okay. All right. As his hand moves there, you see this sort of flash out of the corner of your eye, and Zoe's carbine, her weapon, she slams the butt into his arm, and you can hear the sound of his bones breaking. And he lets out a little whimper, but it stops him reaching his pocket.
Agnar will attempt to grab it back in a very forceful manner to a broken hand. And just look over at Zoe and sigh, or a big sigh of relief, I guess, and just give her a nod. Thanks.
No problem. I didn't want to see what would happen if he lit it in here.
Yeah. I suppose that's the downside of the plan. But quick thinking. Well done.
The lift doors open at the bottom.
Where's the darkest corner? Do you know these? This area of the ship?
We'd have to keep going down towards the ship's hull. And she walks over and finds the panel. We pull this, security's gonna know we opened it. We may have to move around a bit through the passageways to make sure they don't find us?
Yeah, okay, I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Try and keep track of which way we've gone though. You know, if just in case we want to let anyone know. Do we want to let anyone know? Do you want to call someone?
She sort of shrugs a little bit, which makes her give a little bit of a wince. Obviously, her back is hurting a bit. And she says, I think we've got this.
You're right. Fewer witnesses is good. Lead on. I guess we'll be quick.
She pulls open the hatch, and you can head through as a group, and she'll slam the hatch behind. You're in one of those cross corridors before you enter the rather more twisty ones that have the weird gravity that lead you down towards the ship's hull and the when you're not in jump, the emergency shuttles and escape pods.
Let's do some snaking then, I guess.
Okay. You make your way along a little way. The place is lit, but it's low level emergency kind of lighting, just periodically spaced. And you can make your way quite easily through these tunnels. As you do, the guy's looking more and more concerned, shall we say, as to where you're taking him. This is not somewhere he expected to spend the rest of his day. But the passageways, unless you're going through one of the doors that lead to the sort of escape shuttles and things, are basically all identical. You can stop wherever you like.
Okay, I guess, as Zoe says, we'll zigzag around for a little while and find a corridor somewhere. Agnar will be as brutal as he can with his injured hand.
Okay.
You do realise you tried to kill my other crewmate. I'm not over it, Zoe. And me.
You eventually find a place. There aren't any sort of dead ends down here. Everything forms a kind of grid, but it's a grid that twists through 3D space out to the edges. The only ends of the line are either the tunnels that lead or the gates that lead back up to the various bottoms of lift shafts, or the ways to the escape pods. So there's really no sort of specifically dark corner, but it's a maze down here. The passageways, they twist and turn, and it's easy enough to find a place that looks quiet and nondescript.
Zoe, do you think you can hold him for a little while? I just want to have a look at this device.
Yeah, I can do that. She basically grabs his good arm, twists it up behind his back, and just holds him there. I'm going to give a quick check for her strength against his. Yeah, it's not going to be a problem. She presses his face first up against the bulkhead, and she looks pretty stable there.
And Agnar will, I suppose, open. I guess it depends on how baggy the pocket is, but I've got a picture in my head of him opening and just he won't remove the device certainly, but he won't touch it for the time being. He'll just see if he can figure out how it's triggered.
He just wants to basically look down into it.
Yeah, and see if there's anything obvious that he could do to remove the threat.
Yeah. Can you do a demolitions check for me, please? With your military, probably education.
Yeah, explosives.
Yes.
Is that good?
Yeah, explosives will do nicely.
Wonderful. Hopefully not blow us all up. It's not bad. It's a 6, but luckily I get 2 for both, so that's a 10 in total.
Okay. You can see that it is a sealed hand grenade-like device, and it does appear to be attached using just a simple cord inside the pocket where it's kept. So if he were to reach in, just grab it and pull it out, it would ignite pretty much instantly.
Can Agnar just cut the cord?
Yeah, don't see why not.
He'll hold onto the device so the device doesn't move, or the pin.
All right. As he's not exactly going to be cooperating, I'm going to ask you to do an athletics dex with dex, please. And it's going to be a task chain, because Zoe's going to have a strength plus athletic strength. And we'll see how you do together.
Could he use a claw and use his natural melee instead of athletics dex?
You know what? I think he can. Yes, that's a very good idea. That's sharp enough to cut the cord.
Yeah, I'd hope so. I don't think he spends too much time pruning them. Right. And that's another 6 plus 3 is 9.
Okay. Zoe's 11 plus 2 is a 13. Between you, you have no trouble at all pinning him, reaching in there, snipping the thing loose, and you can then lift it out. It is a relatively small encapsulated device, an incendiary.
Agnar will pocket it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't really got inside. He's wearing armor. It's not like he's got an inside pocket. He'll pocket it somewhere and take a step back from the guy.
Okay.
So, who sent you? Who got you on the ship?
He just shakes his head at you.
And Agnar will nod at Zoe.
All right. Zoe grabs the guy's broken arm and starts pulling on it and twisting it, and absolutely brings the guy to his knees with pain. It's agonizing for him. And eventually he says, "Stop." There's a long sort of pause while he just gathers his breath. And then he says, "It's my duty. The diaspora. We are the faithful. And we must obey. I can't fail." And that's where we're going to call it for tonight.
Oh, Ben! That just leads to more questions.
Oh no, this isn't like the old Catholic times when there were 2 popes. Oh no, we've got the fake pope.
The faithful and
An anti-pope.
yeah.
The anti-pope. Oh no, anti-pope's kind of anti-pope.
Now that is a t-shirt.
It's quite niche. Fess. Oh, that probably is Fess. Fess is probably the Pope, the true Pope.
It could be Fess. The whole thing
The whole thing is Fess.
stinks of Fess.
It definitely stinks of Fess. Maybe you can get a confession out of him, then we'll learn something.
Well, that was not at all where I expected tonight to go, Ben, if I'm honest.
Finish my latest notebook. That's very exciting. There we go.
Yes, well, see, the thing is, Things are different sometimes.
Ben's preparing for tomorrow night and the horror stream, I think.
Oh, that's true. Yes. Yes. Got to do the horror stream. Yeah.
But before that, we need
Yes.
to do Rose's cat.
Oh, do we? Okay.
We
Rose's
certainly
cat.
do.
Yes.
It depends, TBT. Who are you suggesting? We're always open to suggestions. Let me double check that we haven't got one of our. If we've got one of our like definite needs, let me just check. No, that's okay. We can be open to a suggestion.
Right. Meanwhile, on the Baltic Star, Kron Sarama was sitting quietly. To be completely accurate, he was sitting quietly and staring at his communicator. Once Rachel Axis had signed off telling him that Rose's cat, Caboodle, was about to interrogate a suspect, he'd been sitting lost in thought. He was conducting a mental exercise of trying out all the possible interpretations of the sentence, Caboodle's about to interrogate a suspect, and still had no idea what could possibly be going on. Rachel Axis, on the other hand, was not only clear on the events unfolding on the table in front of her, but also had planned 2 secret surprises, one in each of the large hip pockets of her engineer's coverall. The officer sitting next to Axis glanced at the delicious-smelling cooked fish on the table and the large knife Axis was holding. He was very relaxed. Less relaxed was the suspect. Axis carefully cut into the fish and, with the tip of the blade, pulled back a long slice of fillet. Underneath the animal's spine was revealed, but it didn't look the way it should, nor did the ribs. Instead of bones, the clear white lines were shattered into something more like powder, still forming the shape of where the bones should be, but with no structural strength. As Caboodle, in the holdall on the table, caught the stronger scent of fish as it was sliced open, she let out another low, desperate moan and renewed her efforts to get through the mesh side of the holdall. The suspect still had no idea what was in the bag, but he knew it sounded aggressive, which it was if you happened to be a fish. It's imaginative, I'll give you that, said the officer. Killing someone with sound waves so powerful they just shatter bones and rupture organs. This fish had already been cooked when we put it through, so the flesh isn't obviously damaged, but if it had still had blood in it, in liquid form, the entire flesh would be evenly filled with it, every vein broken. The suspect thought for a long moment, but then said, I don't know what you're talking about. The officer nodded. Very well. Denying it is your choice. Of course. Axis? The engineer immediately took a bag and placed the fish inside before tucking it in her pocket. When she'd folded her knife away as well and tucked it in the top pocket of her coverall, she slowly and carefully unzipped the holdall, and a moment later a small furry head peered out the top. Caboodle then jumped with great alacrity out onto the table and walked over to where the fish had been, sniffing the table and feeling very much like her life was decidedly unfair. Why, in the final analysis, was there no fish for the cat? The suspect stared at the kitten. The kitten ignored the suspect because he wasn't a delicious fish. That's a cat. The sense of relief in the suspect's voice was unmistakable. Axis smiled at him. Oh, yes. Cats are remarkable things, you know. Some cats more so than others. This cat is a very useful animal in this moment. This cat can tell when someone's lying. She had, as she spoke, reached a hand into one of her hip pockets. The suspect looked at the tiny kitten. That's impossible. I'm an engineer, said Axis. I'm a battle cruiser. Immediately after she said the second part, she pressed a button on the communicator in her right hand. It caused a feedback on a transmission cycle, very high-pitched, beyond human hearing. Caboodle could hear the whine perfectly, though, and immediately sat upright, looking around for the source of the sound. As quickly as it sounded, it was gone. So after a second, the kitten began exploring the table in search of fish. The suspect looked horrified. He couldn't mistake that the cat had clearly reacted to the lie. Meanwhile, on the Baltic Star, Kronsorama's communicator had suddenly let out a strange whine. He stared at it, then gingerly lifted it to his ear. Is that you, Caboodle?
Nice.
There you go.
Oh, poor old Crom. Oh, Critfoul's rocked up at the end of the evening as well. G'day, Critfoul. Thanks for joining us. Socks didn't let you down. She hit a minute of wisdom.
That's
It
true.
was a good one as well. Just before the break, if you want to listen, if you want to rewind and listen to it at some point.
Thank you, Sparrow. Always
Thank you,
appreciated.
Sparrow. Always a winner.
Indeed.
Oh.
What's the plan? Where are we heading?
Well, I don't know. It's the we're going to go to this place in a second. And we just fist bumped.
Where's the place?
Some fist bumped. They're called the McClunky Squadron. I quite like them
Okay.
because it's a similar name to a band I like called McCluskey. I recommend McCluskey to everyone. So when you've done this, when you've gone to McClunky Squadron, go and to YouTube and look up the band McCluskey.
Okay.
It's very enjoyable. I don't know. They'll not be to everyone's taste, but they're very nice.
Probably not tonight, but
It's a bit noisy. English noise rock. It's very hard to explain. Noise rock. Yeah, it's not filthy. I'll TBT. You on my you're on the Baltic Star Twitter, aren't you? I'll abuse the Twitter by posting it. Even if Ben doesn't like it, I post on his behalf. Everything I post is on the behalf of Ben and you.
Classic Baltic Star.
It's quite filthy. I'll do a few. I'll put some on there in a minute. So
Nice.
Fids, you follow it. I'll tell you what, and I'll put it on Discord as well. Fids, post is TBT. You on our Discord? You on our Discord? Fids exclamation mark Discord. Quick, Ben, tell us about tomorrow while I'm faffing around with this nonsense.
okay. Tomorrow, we are doing a special stream for Halloween because it is just Luke and myself, and
Finally,
it is very, very close to Halloween. So we're going to do a one shot, which will actually be a one shot. I know that's going to shock people. Of a classic horror scenario with an entirely homebrew rule set, which is in no way based extensively on fighting fantasy rules because they're really fast and simple. It is called Camp Briarwood, and hopefully it'll be fun and a sort of very classic thing. Yeah, TDT. Normally, when we do say a one shot, we do mean anywhere between 2 and 7 episodes. That's true.
Yeah.
But this one will actually be a one shot.
I'm gonna play a cheerleader, just so everyone knows. Yeah, I decided it last night. I'm a cheerleader. I'm final girl. I'm final girl.
It may be the way to go. Since I do have a habit of wanting to save them.
He won't kill me then. Every time he's that wants to save the cheerleader. Ever since he first watched Hero. I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. It should be quite fun.
Yeah, Craig,
definitely.
you're absolutely right. We do the same thing. We lose track of the detail of the plot because we get lost in characters and conversations and just the meandering of life.
Indeed.
But if we're running out of time, Ben, I'll jump on a fire or something. I'll run towards the killer or whatever it is that's chasing me.
Sure.
Put my arm in the alligator's mouth. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't actually think you'll need to try that hard. This is a scenario where there will be quite a lot of fatality.
Oh, no, and I'm not going to use my cheating dice either.
Ooh,
Just to
then in
make
that
it
case, you're
really
clearly doomed.
risky. Exactly. Oh, I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. So join us tomorrow night from 11 if you fancy some classic. I'm guessing it's quite tropey. Ben, are we going tropey?
Very much.
Very tropey Halloween stuff, horror stuff. So join us for that. I'm not going to wear the cheerleader outfit, but You can picture it on there.
Thank you.
What was that sigh of disappointment, Ewan?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
If I'm honest.
it's because you're not here. You don't
Yeah.
have to see it.
Well, I might show up in chat if you wear it. We'll see.
Deal. There we go. Right. Shall I? I'll raid them. What was told? TD2. We'll raid those guys, McClunky Squadron, and I will link McCluskey in the Discord and the Twitter. But everyone, thank you so much. Thank you, Ben.
Thank
Good
you.
work. Thank
you guys.
Thank you, Ewan, because the first 40 minutes of the stream was just me and him having a conversation, which is very enjoyable.
It's quite often how it goes sometimes, to be fair.
Before Ben took us into the world of torture and brutality.
Well, you decided on torture and brutality.
You kind of strong-armed us into it, Ben.
Yeah.
You went after Rick.
Yeah. Yeah. But don't start fires you can't put out.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Exactly.
Take care, everyone.
Thank
Let's
you,
raid.
everyone, for watching.
Let's say hello to these guys, yeah? Before we do
Yeah.
anything. Right, nice one.
Strong raid.
I quite like their graphics as well. They're quite fun graphics, so let's get involved.
Nice.
You'll see what I mean in a minute. They're quite Amiga, which I'm a fan of. Let's raid. Raid! Don't go shopping with kids. Get it involved. Everyone say it. Everyone say don't go shopping with kids when you get there. Let's go.